the book, was there a chapter that was hardest to write or one you almost didn't want to put out there?
Yeah, so in my book, I talk about the sexual assault that happened like 27 years ago. And it was a very public sexual assault because um, I basically, to sum it up, I was 19 years old. I was a virgin. Um, I was going to UC San Diego. Um, and I wanted to model. And I just started looking up ads in like the school newspaper blindly. This was like back before the internet was really established, even. And I was just like going to these random auditions, which were fine. And then one was not an audition, or I was told it was an audition for
Right.
a modeling shoot. And then once I was in there, I was coerced to do more and things that I've never done before. Even I had a boyfriend for 6 months during that time. We had never even done
Oh,
these
wow.
things. Yeah.
Wow.
And
So,
then the movie was, or the clip was distributed on the internet and like impossible to remove for 20 years.
oh my God, Kylo, that's terrible. Well, how was that to have to relive and decide to put that out there and like show everyone what you kind of carry as scars, I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's terrifying to have people read that. But
Mhm.
then on the other hand, it's kind of like I've never spoken about this. Um, and millions of people watch the videos and they just, even though in the video, like when I watched it once just because I want to see what's out there.
Yeah.
And I look very uncomfortable and disturbed and even like scared in some parts of it. Um, so it's like you should know, but people actually enjoy that kind of stuff. So yeah. Um,
Did this man ever get in trouble, by the way?
no, I didn't even realize it was assault until 10 years ago when I was sharing it with a therapist and she was like, that's assault because he didn't hold a knife to me. Like he didn't like I I I knew I did not want to do these things, but he had me there under false pretenses,
Right.
decades older than me, and I just like didn't um understand what was going on.
Yeah.
Um, and I disassociated because like I can't remember a lot of what happened in that room.
Yeah.
Um, so anyways, like no, I don't even know his name. I
Oh,
do
wow.
know there's other victims out there because he shot a series of videos, but I at one point tried to find them, but you can't find it's like I feel like it's an assault when you see an explicit video of a woman and then she's never heard from again
Yeah.
because she was not trying to pursue this. There was
Right.
actually a big case called Girl Against Girls Do Porn, maybe like 10 years ago. In the same area I was in, there was a company called Girls Do Porn, which was like one of the number one companies on Pornhub. And they were coerced doing the same kind of thing, except they were flying girls in from Florida, whatever, really young, 18, 19-year-olds. And they would like, once they were in the room with them, they'd take away their like passport and license and say, you better do this, or like, we're not giving this back. And
Right.
um, the girls won like $20 million or something, and
Oh,
all those
wow.
guys are in jail. So it's definitely like I don't think all the porn you watch is consensual.
Right. I mean, listen, I remember when I think it's called Money Shot. It was the Pornhub story came out on Netflix. I had one of the girls on and she was talking about that, about how a
Yeah.
lot of it is not consensual and both ways that some of the videos that are out there are not consensual and that's really scary because essentially it's rape.
Yeah.
And some people were saying that it was consensual, but the fact that it was on Pornhub when it wasn't meant to be pornography, it was supposed to be an intimate moment, went
Mm,
out there, and then that becomes the abuse. It wasn't the actual sexualization of what happened in the
yeah.
room, but it was a putting it out there for everybody to see and judge you on. And that was what like devastated their lives, you
And
know?
there was so much revenge porn just posted by boyfriends or
Yeah.
like even child pornography on Pornhub. It was only when my video was removed, I think it was only like 7 years ago, something like that,
Oh, wow.
when Nicholas Kristoff, this New York Times reporter, wrote this. wonderful piece called The Children of Pornhub about how there's all this child pornography on there. In fact, like there was like parents who discovered their kid who was missing on
Yeah,
Pornhub,
I
and then
read.
Pornhub refused to remove it.
I saw
So
that.
it's like appalling. And finally, when that article came out, Visa and MasterCard were like, we're not help supporting you anymore, Pornhub. And Pornhub finally removed all these horrible videos.
Yeah, they talk about that. They document that in that
Oh
documentary.
yeah, yeah.
For sure. And it was a huge deal. So was there a moment in your life where you really were able to reclaim your power, that you were like, I'm not going to be stereotyped anymore, where I want to move forward, where I'm going to own? Because you talked about how you've changed your roles, your jobs, you so many times to feel a purpose and a fulfillment. Was there a moment where you're like, I'm not going to do this for anybody else anymore, where I'm now happy in my own skin?
Yeah, it's still a work in progress,
As
but
it always is.
yeah, I a lot of it was getting sober because after that assault happened, I like spiraled into a lot of drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
But I got sober 11 years ago, and
Wow.
then of course, like getting sober, you do all this recovery work of like examining your past and like going to therapy and speaking about. I think the best part about the recovery is speaking about these horrible things
Mhm.
to other people who have gone through horrible things and nobody judges.
Right.
And then that was really healing for me. And then, yeah, sharing this with lots of women who are like, this is assault. Um, and
Well, it's so
eventually,
amazing because it's, sorry to interrupt you. I just want to say it's one of those things where you feel like you've been grappling with the facts of it or what happened, and then when you actually get to say it with people that are like, I've been through that, maybe not
mhm.
the same exact thing, but the feeling, and you create like a community of people and feel much stronger for it.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
so important to have like safe spaces where you can share. I think that's like what I've really learned because before when that assault happened, I never spoke about it
Right.
like for decades.
And there was probably some shame there and you didn't even realize it was shame, but
I mean, unbelievable amounts of sh yeah, unbelievable amounts of shame. I still, and you know, it's just a natural thing in society for women to blame them. It's like even if someone's brutally raped without question, they'll still like question, oh, should I have been there? Should I
right.
have like been nice to him? Or, when it's absolutely not the victim's fault, like don't rape is
Yeah.
is the moral of the story.
I know. Yeah, it's incredible. All right. So what do you hope this book changes about the way people see Asian women?
I just hope to people, I think most people are okay with it, but for those who sexualize Asian women to see them as multifaceted people. But I think the men who fetishize Asian women in a demeaning way probably treat all women as, so I
Um,
would want them to see all women as multifaceted beings who are not your vessels for your pleasure, you
right.
know? Yeah.
Right. Um, if readers walk away with just one thing from Fetishized, what would you hope they do? Walk away with.
Uh, outside of the theme of the book, there's a saying that you're as sick as your secrets. I wish I had been able to talk about my experiences earlier because I would have
Mm.
healed a lot earlier. It was like eating me from the inside out. So
Wow.
I think if you have like secrets, just find someone you can trust. They even a priest, if you're Catholic, that's like a whole part of that religion. It's just, I think, healthy to at least, or you have a therapist. You can tell a therapist, right?
Right.
Um, just don't hold anything inside. It's like corrosive.
Right. Right. That's good advice. Now that you've told this story, what's next for you?
Um, I don't even I know I
You've done
definitely
everything else. I mean,
I know. I yeah, I mean, definitely there will be a second book, but I don't even know what it will be about. But
okay. So you like the process of writing.
yes, yeah. I think the biggest thing that I discovered from this whole process is like such a priceless gift for me to like have discovered writing because it has no dependency on your looks and your youth. You could write till you're 99,
Yeah.
It's like, and I enjoy it. And I would have never found it if I didn't get sober, you know. I would
Oh,
have
wow.
went and pursued some other entertainment career that would have made me miserable.
And for people that are listening that are interested in writing their own memoir or a story, can you give a little like lesson in how you found your voice, how you found how you wanted to tell the story, how you broke down the chapters? Like, how did it come together for you?
Yeah, so my memoir is like a memoir and essays. So it's a little bit different than like just a sequential memoir, but
Mhm.
it's also a cultural criticism. And if you wanted to write this kind of book, which I recommend, it's really fun to write because it's not only writing your story, it's like I was researching media that was influential at the time and really digging into the memoirs of a geisha and like what inspired that. And then I'd like dig into the um history behind American soldiers in Japan and then add that into the book. But yeah, it's like also I worked on the book with my editor, who Amy Lee, who's like a genius. Um, I would write like 4 essays and then give them to her, and then we'd like discuss. But honestly, I wanted to like put all these cool stories in there, but my editor would be like, "What does that have to do with the Asian fetish?" So you need a good editor to like, shape it and take out all the
Human.
other
Yeah.
fluff. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, can save all your stories for your next book.
Yeah.
Um, my last question is, how has publishing this memoir changed the way you see yourself today?
It was not my intention, but it was probably the most healing experience of my life. It was not only that, but just like working on it. My editor happens to be Asian American, and she really championed the book. And she's gone through the same things, these same feelings. So
Yeah.
just be able to write that and have like someone trusted who would not judge me, it's
Yeah.
just so healing. I
Yeah.
recommend just writing your memoir for yourself, just like to heal, to
Right.
process all your everything that happened.